So good morning friends, welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So guys, we are about to start the session and we will be uploading the PDF for today's session. Just give me a minute. The PDF will be uploaded. So today is 8th of July and the PDF is available on our Telegram group. You can download the PDF. It is available on our Telegram group. So here we are connected live. I hope we are going to provide you uninterrupted session today, as the issues that were there that we faced yesterday, those issues have been resolved. Okay, so good number of people have already joined us. So Mohit, Vicky, Ajay, Sukhpreet, Pooja, Himanshu, Ritu, Manoj, good morning all. Good morning all, good morning everyone. I hope you are doing well in your life. Stay healthy, okay, and stay motivated in your life. No matter how tough is the circumstances, you need to stay mentally strong. That's the requirement of this UPSC preparation. We need to be mentally very strong, because the position that you are, the post that you will be handling, the position that you will be taking up while in service, it demands lot of, you can say, mental strength. So that's why we have to keep our, you can say, mental strength on a higher note while in preparation itself. Okay, so here we are. So let's start this session. Let's see what exactly is there for us for today's newspaper. So we are going to start this session with this particular quote. So Aditi, Cake Planet, Aduri, good morning. So here we have this statement by Warren Buffett. Now he says that in looking for people to hire, look for three qualities: integrity, intelligence, and energy. If they don't have the first, the other two will kill you. Okay, so he says that that is fine if we are focusing just on capabilities. It is fine that in an organization you want to hire someone, you cannot hire a person without the capabilities. So capabilities definitely we want, but along with that we want that person to have some integrity. Otherwise that person may end up damaging the organization. That person may end up damaging the organization. So we don't want that thing to happen. We don't want that thing to happen. So that's why Warren Buffett has said that intelligence and energy, they are required, but the most required thing is the integrity in that person. Because if integrity is missing, that person may end up as a disaster. So as simple as that. So I hope you understand the reason why UPSC looks for personality interview. Why they want to look into your personality? Why it is not a job interview, it's a personality interview. Okay, so there is a difference. There is a difference. So in that personality interview, UPSC is going to, the panel is going to analyze your personality. Now if they find that you are not suitable for this job, they are not going to give you marks. So this is the point you have to understand. They are looking for some certain qualities, and definitely integrity is one of them. We cannot compromise on integrity. So if individuals that are selected in UPSC, if they don't have integrity, they will use the system for their personal benefit. They will use the system, the post, the position for their selfish motives. This is how it is going to be. There will be increase in corruption. There will be increase in corruption. So this is how things are going to be, and we don't want this thing to happen at all. At any cost, we don't want this thing to happen. That's the important point. That's the important point. So it is important that we need to have integrity. Now just having integrity, is it sufficient? Just having integrity, is it sufficient? Certainly not. You need to have those individuals who are intelligent, who have the energy to implement the program. Okay, Honesty, integrity is required. We are not denying that, but along with that, the individual need to have the intelligence and the energy so that he can deliver on the respective program, he can deliver on the respective promise that the government is making. So that ability is also desirable. Okay, सिर्फ इंटीग्रिटी से काम नहीं चलेगा, बाकी चीजें भी होनी चाहिए, ठीक है ना. So those are the things that are required. People, they want some result from the bureaucracy, and that result will be provided if the you are hiring right set of people. So this is what was mentioned here. So let's move to next part now. Now Boris Johnson resigns as prime minister. The whole drama ends in Britain. His cabinet was, you can say, against him. This is how things turned up, and he was forced to resign. So we know that in UK we have parliamentary system. Okay, so like in India, they also have the parliament. Prime ministerial system is there in UK. So as the prime minister himself has resigned now, so the cabinet or the council of minister is considered to be dissolved. Okay, so this is how things are that are there in UK. There will be new prime minister. So there are few names that are emerging. One name is of Indian origin. Okay, so these are the things that are there. So we'll move to the next part now. Now in Bali meeting with Wang, Jaishankar raises the LAC issue. Okay, so like the foreign ministers of G20 countries, they were meeting in Bali, and at there as well, India again raised the issue of line of actual control. Now in the past as well, Mr. Wang, he had stated that India should raise this particular LAC issue at an appropriate platform, not anywhere, not everywhere. हर जगह नहीं पूछे जाते, ठीक है ना, हर जगह आप हमसे बात नहीं कर सकते. दिस इज व्हाट चाइनीज फॉरेन मिनिस्टर सेड अबाउट इट. ओके, but we for us the LAC is quite important, and we have to raise that issue, and we are raising it. Okay, so whatever action that India is taking is guided by the national interest of India. That's the point here. So this is how things are going ahead now. Already there are quite differences that are there. LAC has changed the complete calculation of India-China relations. Okay, so things have changed a lot. Things have changed a lot. We cannot say that our relations are normal now. And Dalai Lama, definitely it's quite a big issue. Okay, it's a still, you can say, pending issue between India and China. Dalai Lama, who still commands the respect among the Chinese population. Okay, so he's in India, and China doesn't like these things. Now apart from that, just have a look over this particular question. So here we have this prelims 2020 question. So UPSC had asked that in which one of the following groups are the 4 countries members of G20. Okay, so here these particular individuals, these gentlemen are foreign minister and the Chinese foreign minister. They were meeting on a, you can say, where the foreign minister of G20 countries were meeting. So you have to come out with the right answer in this. Okay, so this was the new type of question that UPSC did ask. Now this was a 2020 question, and since then as well the UPSC have further evolved. Okay, so the point is this: the questions that UPSC is asking, they are not going to be quite simple question. Those days are over now. Okay, so we need to know the gravity of the question, the quality of the question that UPSC is asking, and accordingly we have to carry out our preparation. Okay, so just try to attempt this particular question. I hope people are aware of this, because G20 I have explained it multiple times. People who are connected with us from say many days, they will be able to address this particular question. Okay, so just try to answer this particular question. Now it is saying that which is the, you can say, which one of the following are the 4 countries member of G20. Okay, now G20 primarily, if you see, it includes the top 20 economies of the world. Okay, so we need to have that clarity. Now in this, what set of, you can say, countries can we include? Now the point is this: if you look into this, Malaysia and Canada is mentioned in the B option. Okay, now Malaysia and New Zealand, their economic size is quite small. They cannot be the top 20. It is not possible. I'll show you the map as well. We move to the next C option. Now Brazil is there. Brazil, definitely it can be there. Saudi Arab, it can be there. Iran, it can be there. But what about Vietnam? The size of Vietnamese economy, is it that large? What do you say? So what I am trying to say that you have to use the common sense here. Okay, common sense also needs to be used here. We cannot outrightly just, you can say, we don't know the countries and you completely don't even try to attempt this question. Okay, now let's look into the D part: Indonesia, Japan, Singapore, South Korea. Now in this you may find South Korea, Japan, definitely these will be there. Indonesia will be there because the size of the population itself is quite large. What about Singapore? Is it among the top 20? That's a question. So this can be a tricky part here. Okay, this can be a tricky part, but we cannot undermine the size of the population. Singapore as a country is, the area is as big as Delhi. Okay, it's not more than Delhi. So can we include it in G20? Certainly not. So here are the set of countries that are there in G20. So Argentina is there, Australia is there, Brazil is there, Canada is there, China is there, European Union, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, UK, US. So what I am saying is that by common sense as well, you can attempt these. So B will be ruled out, C will be ruled out, D will also be ruled out because Singapore will not be there. So you will be left with just one particular option, that is A. So by elimination as well, you can attempt these type of questions. Okay, so this is how we need to develop our ability. तो ऐसा हमें करना पड़ता है. So these were the countries that are there. Now you already have this content with you, so you can just have a look on them. Okay, just have a look on them. So before moving to next part, so Hakuna Matata is asking, sir, before 2010 UPSC paper used to be very easy after looking current trends. Okay, see, UPSC is going to make things tough for you because the job itself is like that. Okay, you're preparing to become an IAS officer or an IPS officer, so you are working in an uncertain environment. So they want that aspirants who are coming for these particular services, they should understand, they should be prepared for any eventuality and uncertainty. Okay, so that's why they are making things difficult. And other point is this: they want a level playing field. Okay, so you guys must be attempting this paper for the first time. There can be someone who had written multiple mains, who had given multiple interviews, who may be going for sixth attempt. Okay, so they want a level playing field. So that's why if the uncertainty is maintained, then only it will be a level playing field. Otherwise, the person who is writing the exam for the sixth time, he may be knowing more than you. He may be knowing more than you. Okay, so that's the point. That's the point. So UPSC is preparing you for this. So before moving ahead, Vicky Gautam Yadav did ask a question, sir. In interview, there is a general question that why you come in this sector, sir. What will be the proper answer, please? So you need to understand one thing. It depends upon person to person. Okay. So it also depends upon the profile that you are carrying. So in the past, if you are working in some NGO, so you can definitely say that you are here to work to make the maximum, you can say, difference in the lives of the maximum number of people, because at the end of the day administration is going to take the decision. Okay, all other bodies that are there, NGO, private sector, they are there to just support the system, but primarily the action is taken up at the level of administration only. NGOs, private sector, they are players, but that doesn't undermine the importance of administration. It still commands the most effective, you can say, power that it has. So you have to give answer in that way. So it will vary from person to person. Okay, so it also depends upon your profile in the past, what you did, like whether you was working in some corporate, some NGO, or you were just preparing for this exam. It all depends upon that. Okay, so this is how things are. So we'll move to the next level now, next news item. So that is there. So here we have this news: Supreme Court to take up the Zubair plea for liberty and protection. Okay, so that individual was booked under section 295 and he's behind the bars now. Now the point is this, where do we draw the line? Okay, so at one point we have freedom of expression, but parallel to that we have some restrictions. Okay, and those restrictions are required. So you have 295A, and you have something called section 67 of your IT Act. They are still prevailing. Now the point is this is the debate that is there. To what extent can we allow the freedom to prevail? Because if you look into the social harmony, if you look into the public order, these things are also important. Okay, and India is a diverse country. We cannot leave the space for these things. We cannot leave the space that someone is creating trouble for the government by disturbing the public order, by making some, you can say, irresponsible comments here. Those things are also important. So it's quite a balance. We do understand freedom of expression is important, but parallel to that, that power, that right of freedom of expression have to be exercised with some responsibility. Okay, there the person should know he has the responsibility as a citizen of this country. You cannot cross the limits. That's the point here. So we'll move to the next part now. Monsoon getting hotter than the summer. Okay, so this is what study is saying. There are a lot of things that are changing right now, and primarily this is linked with the climate change. Okay, so I already told multiple times that the severity of the, you can say, events, it has increased drastically. So the events have become more severe. This is how things are there. Okay, काफ़ी खतरनाक हो गए हैं, बाढ़ भी बहुत ज़्यादा आती है, एंड ड्रॉट इफ इट इज़ देयर, सूखा पड़ता है तो बहुत ज़्यादा पड़ता है. ओके, सो दिस इज़ हाउ द होल सिनेरियो इज़. वी नो दैट हीट वेव in some parts they are causing deaths. Okay, तो ऐसा भी देखा गया है. And things are quite alarming. So we need to prepare our population, and that's why there is a suggestion that we should start creating awareness among masses, and we should start moving towards creating resilient population. Okay, so you need to have a resilient citizenry to deal with these type of issues. Your people of your country, they need to be trained to deal with these type of eventualities that are coming up because of climate change. Your farmer should be competent enough to deal with this type of, you can say, problem that is coming up. Okay, so we have to use the technology, we have to use the science to deal with this crisis. That's the point which is there. So we'll move to the next particular news coverage. So here we will be heading towards the editorial section directly. Okay, so editorial section. So here you can see the, you can say, the problems that are there. Okay, so heavy rains, and again it's a flood like situation. So see why these things are happening. This shows that your infrastructure is not competent enough to deal with these things. Okay, so infrastructure need to be, you can say, strengthened now. Without that we cannot deal with issues. Every year the flood will be there, every year there will be waterlogging. So that's the problem, that's the problem which is there. Okay, so we'll move to the editorial section. So here we have this editorial. Okay, so ending the Ukraine war in an imperfect world. See, you need to understand one thing. What this war has brought, what are the impact? So commodity prices, okay, they are increasing significantly. We know that wheat shortage is going on, palm oil shortage is going on. Okay, so edible oil prices are increasing, wheat prices are increasing. So that's the outcome of this war. Along with that, you can say the crude oil, that is also increasing. Now it will have impact definitely on the country like India, which is dependent on imports. And if you see today itself, yesterday there was a news that our trade deficit has reached the highest. Okay, trade deficit, that is the difference between import and export, it has reached to the highest. That's the point, that's the point which is there. So this is how things are, this is how things are. So it will be a difficult situation for country like India. Now commodity prices are increasing, oil prices are increasing. There is also a disruption of the supply chain. Okay, disruption of the supply chain, specifically if you talk about semiconductors, because of this particular war. Okay, so all these things are taking place now. In that scenario, We are today living in the globalized world where if there is any impact in one part of the world, it will be reflected in other areas as well. एक जगह अगर कुछ होगा तो बाकी जगहों पे भी वो चीज reflect होगी. Okay, so this is how the nature of globalized world is. This is how the nature of globalized world is. So right now it is important that we need to end this war as early as possible. But will it be possible? Will it be possible? Because these countries that are there, will they be ready for making compromises? Russians, are they ready for that? Ukrainians, are they ready for that? Ukraine is asking for arms and weapons from the Western countries. Russians, they are not ready to end this war. They want that they will achieve their goal, whatever is the reason for which the war has been started by them. So this is the present situation right now. There are global repercussions that are there. Global inflation is very high. Okay, it is not just in India, it's a global phenomena. The crude prices are increasing, the commodity prices are increasing, and it is not going to be normalizing quite easy. इतनी जल्दी और इतनी अर्ली कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, ठीक है ना? So more than 5 million Ukrainians, they have left the country. There are rising casualties, like destruction is going on, and as per the estimate, Ukraine will require $750 billion. Okay, this is how things are. There is food shortage that is going on, fertilizer shortage that is going on. So that's the scenario right now. That's the scenario right now. Now, if you find the reasons why this war have started, you have to understand one thing. Russia, definitely it's a perpetrator, it's a, you can say, country which is directly involved, but we cannot undermine the role played by the NATO, the expansion of NATO. Because the NATO followed the open door policy, regularly more countries were added to it. Somehow they were of a thought process that Russia will not do anything, Russia is weak. This is what they had in their mind. Many of the US scholars, strategy thinkers, they had cautioned the NATO enlargement that don't play with the security interest of Russia. Russia might retaliate. And this is what is the outcome right now. So for Russians, this is that their national interest, their security is supreme and they are fighting for it. They are fighting for it. They are fighting for their security interest. That's the point. There were some sane voices within Europe. So within EU, there were some sane voices, France, Germany. They said that Russia is a part of Europe, and if you talk about security arrangement in Europe, it cannot be without Russia. That's the point. These countries did say that, but somehow they kept on enlarging the NATO under the influence of United States, and here at present they are paying the price. Okay, so आज की डेट में ये प्राइस पे कर रहे हैं. This is how things are. But how the war is supposed to end here? Will they be ready to compromise? Okay, when this war started, Russians might be thinking that like they will have the might and the Ukrainians will not be able to take up the Russian, you can say, military might, and the war will end soon. But it is turning out to be disastrous for Russia as well, for their economy as well. Because this war is still prolonging. Experts are saying that it can still continue up to 1 year if the supplies continues from the Western countries. This is how things are going to be. This is how things are going to be. So it is as early as possible that we conclude this war for the interest of your national economy, global economy. Okay, so here there are new developments that are taking place. Now Russia was thinking that by starting this war they will be able to deal with the NATO expansion. But here they might have been, you can say, successful in stopping the Ukraine. But Finland and Sweden, they are joining NATO. So Russia was working to stop one country from joining NATO, but here Sweden and Finland, they will also join NATO now. 2 more countries have thought to join NATO. This is how things are going to be. So that's the thing, and it is really very important that this war needs to end, because escalation, the chances of escalations can definitely be there. So here when we talk about escalation, we primarily means that use of nuclear weapon. So this world has, you can say, experienced the use of nuclear weapon once. Can we afford to see this again? Is it in interest of the You can say the humanity? Certainly not. That's why it is important to end this war as early as possible. Okay, तो ये चीज करनी जरूरी है. We'll move to the next part. A community, a health issue of concern. Okay, so here this editorial deals with the LGBTQ. Okay, see, you need to understand one thing. The criminality of section 377 has gone now. Okay, but this was the court decision. The Supreme Court came out with the judgment. Society, the question is this: is Indian society ready for acceptance of LGBTQ community? So as a society, can we say that LGBTQ community will be acceptable to the people? This is what you have to understand right now. This is what you have to understand right now. Now, the point is quite simple. The point is quite simple here. Court, Supreme Court, they will come out with some progressive judgments. Okay, so your constitution is going to guide you towards the progressive future. But the thing is that society has its own pace of evolution, and it may take some time. So as court has come out with the judgment, it's a welcome thing, because at the end of the day, in the legal terms, some effect will be visible. In the legal terms, some effect will be visible, but in reality, it may take more time. And till the time those things are not happening, till the time LGBTQ community is not accepted in the society, they will face lot of problems. Discrimination will be there, mental issues will be there, mental in the sense that harassment, psychological problems, emotional things will definitely be there, because society is not ready to accept these things. Okay, it is going to take some time. I am saying that society is moving towards, you can say, progressive future, but in an evolutionary way. It is going to take some time. Okay, so this is how things are going to be. This is how things are going to be. Yes, section 377, the criminality has gone under the NALSA judgment. Okay, but the issues that are still prevailing, mental illness challenges, are definitely there. There will be issues related to discrimination. Stigma is still attached to that. Okay, discrimination will be there, mental health issues are going to be there, because still the stigma is there. Society is not ready to accept the LGBTQ community, and there are chances that they will be marginalized, they will be targeted. And who are going to target? I am saying this thing to you: can we say our police is ready to accept this particular fact, that LGBTQ community does exist in the society? Can we say? So if the government entities are not, you can say, prepared enough to accept the LGBTQ community, how can we expect the society to accept them? Things are going to take some time. Okay, so we have to learn that people, they have their own sexual orientation. But the reality is this: even the large majority of psychiatrists that are there in India, they still consider diverse sexual orientation, gender identities as a disorder. Now, even within the medical community, you can say it is not being treated as a normal thing, it is treated as a disorder. How can you expect the society to be accepting them? Okay, so these problems are existing right now. That's why there are a lot of mental health issues that the LGBTQ members, they have to deal with. Okay, so it is quite, you can say, it's a good thing that this LGBTQ community is coming up, they are coming together. Okay, so you have a like-minded people along with you. This is how things are, but still the society is going to take its own pace to accept this as a normal norm. Okay, in the Western countries this has been accepted, in the Western countries this has been accepted, but here it is going to take some time. That's the fact. Okay, that's the fact. So LGBTQ, now it's a diverse term. LGBTQ, it's a umbrella term that includes gay, lesbian, transgenders. Okay, so it's a quite bigger umbrella term. So they have their own community, people who have different sexual preferences. So they are uniting under a umbrella of LGBTQ. And this is how things are. So section 377, that was related to the you can say intercourse, or you can say same-sex intercourse. So that has been decriminalized. Earlier it was a criminal act, but after the Supreme Court judgment it has been decriminalized. So this was the whole debate. Okay, so we'll move to the next part now. आगे चलते हैं, देखते हैं. So here we have this particular debate that is there: should the ATP and the WTO merge? Okay, so it's not relevant for our exam. We are not going to discuss this. Okay, you cannot waste your time on these things. If you have interest in tennis, you can definitely read about it. ठीक है ना, आप बिल्कुल इसको रीड कर सकते हो. Okay, this is the point. This is the point. So there is one person who is sharing information with us. Even in DSM manual, so it has been removed ages ago. It is, if the psychologists are not updated in their knowledge, it's wrong on their part. Yes. Okay, yes. See, they are updated, but they are also social beings. See, at the end of the day, humans, as a citizen of this country, as a, you can say, human being, we are part of the society. So those social norms, those things that are accepted in the society, that are not accepted in the society, it will be reflected in your personality as well. Okay, so we cannot outrightly blame them. It is going to take some time. It is going to take some time to accept this LGBTQ and their rights as a normal thing. Okay, so that's the point here. As the educational, you can say, uh, penetration is increasing in India, things are going to be normalizing very soon. So we'll move to the next part now. Now, turbulence in the airline. Okay, so this is how things are. See, I already told you, if you look into the aviation industry of India, so it's quite competitive. Okay, it's quite competitive, and like profit margins are really, you can say, very less, and those profit margins will further shrink if the, you know, the prices are increasing. Okay, so if the turbine fuel prices are increasing, the profit margins will shrink, and these companies, to further sustain their profit margin, they may compromise on the security and the safety things. So this is how things are turning up right now. This is how things are turning up right now. Okay, and this particular issue has emerged. This particular issue has emerged specifically in case of SpiceJet. Okay, so friends, there is one news that is coming up. The former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, okay, who played a remarkable role in the revival of Quad, and he has been shot. उनको किसी ने गोली मार दी है यहाँ पे, ठीक है ना. So there are reports that he might be injured. He has been shot. In Japan, this has happened. So we'll move to the next news item. So the proposal for an India-specific norm for assessing the vehicular safety in collision. So this is the development. So government has introduced a draft Bharat New Car Assessment Program. Okay. So they want that whatever assessment system that is there in India, it should be as per the global standards, so that we are producing best vehicles which can be exported to other countries. This is what we are focusing on, so that we can produce best vehicles which can be exported to other parts of the world, and this is what we are working on. So that's the news which is there. Okay, so this is the new car assessment program, and the thing is that you have to make your system as per the international norms, and this is what we are doing. So it is basically a 5-star system. It is going to give star rating on different parameters related to safety. Okay, so safety assist technologies, child occupant protection, adult occupant protection, so on that star ratings will be given. And it is also in line with making your consumer more informed about the services that are to be given by a particular vehicle. Okay, so this is how things are. So we'll move to the next news item. So here we are moving towards this particular page. There is nothing much on this particular, you can say, page here. Rajnath to brief parliamentary panel on Agnipath next week. Okay, so I was like watching a particular interview of one aspirant who are uh, like who are right now going for selection in this Agnipath scheme. So they said that like joblessness is there in the society. They raised one valid question. They said that like 10th pass, 12th pass people, who will give jobs to them? This is what their question was. Okay. This is what their question was. That was the point. That was the point here. Okay. So this is how things are. This is how things are. Other than that, there is nothing much on this particular page. Okay, Vivo sent 50% of the sale proceeds to China. This is what ED is saying. So the question mark has been raised over the working of these Chinese mobile companies, and some of the issues were reported. So definitely it's a major threat. Okay, if someone is sharing your data, because this is the information age, the data is very critical. So if the data is going outside India, then it's a problematic thing. That's why we say that data localization should be there. Okay, so this is how things are right now. So other than that, there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay, so that's the point here. So princess is asked, sir, I hope you understood well as very well. So what's the thing you are talking about? I'm not getting you. Okay. So Prime Minister is saying new education policy will develop skilled and the confident youth. Okay. See, new education policy also touches upon one important aspect, that is giving the value laden education. Okay, that is also very critical. We know that knowledge is important in our life, but along with the knowledge, okay, we need to have individuals who are having integrity in their life. So knowledge without integrity, it can be a disaster for the society. So this is what your new education policy is focusing upon, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we are working on that line. So other than that, there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay. So set up MSP panel as promised. This is what Congress is saying right now. So the point is this, like MSP pricing issue, it is going to exist. Okay, this is a problem that is there. Now, right now, if you look into the international prices of wheat and other commodity items, they are say 40% higher. Okay, but when the international prices were higher, when your farmer was supposed to get good remuneration, the government of India introduced an export ban. So this is how things are. And parallel to that, if you look into the suggestion of Swaminathan Commission, Swaminathan Commission suggested that 50%, okay, whatever is the input cost that farmer is putting in, the profit and the return should be 50% more than that, so that the agriculture can be sustained. Otherwise, farmer will move away from the agriculture, and then it is going to be a food crisis for you. Okay, so we don't want food crisis, food security issue to be there in India, and that's why we have to sustain the farming. But it is not that easy. Already the youth is moving away, so that's the demand which is there. Now along with that, there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay, so on the international page, there is nothing much that we have to look upon. You can read things on your own. So employee perks free from GST. Okay, so this is how things are. So if the employer is giving some perks to the a particular employee, then that will not fall under the GST. This is what they are saying. And the point is this, the penalty has been brought by the panel. The penalty was basically brought because some of the companies, they were producing false invoices. जबरदस्ती के fake invoice बना के काम चलाते हैं वो. Okay, this is how things are, and those particular things need to be penalized. उनको ज़रूर penalize करना चाहिए, ठीक है ना. This is how things are. Now RBI measures will help spur the overseas fund inflow. Okay, so this is the initiative that RBI has taken. RBI has raised the overseas borrowing limits. So earlier 750 million per financial year. This was the borrowing limit. It has been increased to 1.5 billion. Okay, so this is how the things have been facilitated. So the companies, they can borrow money from the international market if they are getting the less rate of interest there. तो जहाँ से आपको कम interest rate पे चीजें money मिल रहा है, the companies can go ahead with that, and this is what has been facilitated by RBI. It will facilitate boost in the foreign exchange inflows. Okay, because you will be getting money in terms of dollars or in some other, you can say, currency domination. So this is how it is going to boost the forex reserve as well. यहाँ से आपका forex reserve जो है वो boost होगा. This is what RBI is thinking. Okay, so this is the point that is there. Other than that, there is nothing much. Okay, so it is also in line with to stabilize the rupee, because rupee was depreciating at quite higher pace. So these measures are required at the level of RBI, and they have taken that. So this is what we have here. This is what we have here in today's session. That's it for the day then. Thank you very much. So Vicky Gautam Yadav is asking, if wheat price is high in the international market, government should increase MSP to remunerate farmer or not? Okay. So Vicky Gautam Yadav is asking, he's saying that MSP can be increased. Now the problem in India is that you have a consumer base. Okay. So you have to help consumer as well. So if you are increasing the MSP, it will be difficult for the consumer as well. आप अगर डोमेस्टिक मार्केट में भी एमएसपी को बढ़ाओगे तो कंज्यूमर के ऊपर भी डिफिकल्टी आएगी, बिकॉज ही हैज टू बाय दैट एक्सपेंसिव वीट. ठीक है ना? सो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग हियर. सो वी हैव अ पर कैपिटा इनकम दैट इज इंक्रीजिंग, बट इट इज स्टिल क्वाइट लेस. It is still quite less. So that problem is still prevailing in Indian system. So that's why we have to rationalize the MSP, and it is also said that, like, to say subsidize the consumer, okay, your government is penalizing the farmers. To subsidizing the consumer, your government is penalizing the farmers. ठीक है ना? तो सरकार क्या कर रही है? कंज्यूमर को सब्सिडाइज करने के लिए फार्मर को नुकसान कर रही है. ओके, this is the point that is there. This is the point that is there. So this is what we have in today's session. So I already discussed that particular point. Shinzo Abe, who was the former prime minister of Japan, he has been shot. Okay, so it was a tragic thing. We have to still figure it out what's the development on that particular news item. So this is how things are. That may be discussed in tomorrow's The Hindu. So I already told you Shinzo Abe played really important role when it comes to reviving of Quad, or you can say he had this idea of making diamond of democracy. And he is a good friend of Mr. Modi as well. So that's it for the day. Thank you very much.